Okay, everybody, I think we can go ahead and get started. Once again, thank you so much. I know this was very short notice for you guys to come and sign up, um, but we are wrapping up a whirlwind of 3 RFPs that the youth P&I portfolio has put out within the past, I believe, 2 months now. Yeah. Um, so this is the final of the 3. The Youth Intervention Pathways Program. So a couple of housekeeping rules. It says due to the volume of participants, that doesn't really hold true here. But we're going to use the QR code to ask all questions. It's just an easier and cleaner way for us to keep track of everything that has come through. I will pull up the QR code one more time in a second, and we will give 2 opportunities where we'll go through and answer the questions that are given. Once after I present the overview of the program and before Jillian comes up and starts talking about the process of submitting the application. And then once she is done, we'll go back and answer any final questions that you guys might have. So the big thing is, so the presentation is being recorded, but the big thing is anything stated today is not intended to change the solicitation document. Any changes will be in writing in the form of an addendum issued by DFSS. So meaning if we're talking and I misstate something, that does not become law, and that is not how the program will change. Any changes have to be in the form of an addendum that will come out shortly after we're done with this presentation, within a week or so. And a copy of this recording will be posted on the DFSS YouTube channel in a few days. So once again, if you have missed this, go ahead and take a picture of this QR code and feel free to jot down any questions that you may have. All right, so here's our agenda. We are currently in the welcome and introduction section. Hello, I'm Sean Gallardo, project manager for the Youth Intervention Pathways program. I don't have a team with me today, with the exception of Jillian Black. I'll let her give her full introduction when she does her section of the presentation. So we're going to go through the purpose of this RFP, background, what we've done. We'll go through the information about the scope, program descriptions, talk about our selection criteria, the timeline that we are trying to stick to, any technical assistance for applicants and e-procurement. That's what Jillian's going to take care of, and then any final questions that we have. Alrighty. So, purpose of this RFP, we are seeking to find qualified respondents to provide short-term case management services that's up to 90 days for youth between the ages of 10 to 21 who have had contact with law enforcement or youth who are chronically absent from school. So we are looking to reduce ongoing interactions with police, mitigate risk factors that drive justice system involvement, enhance community safety, encourage youth accountability through restorative justice, empowering them to make positive choices and pursue healthy life paths. So the approach that we're looking to take is referrals will be made by Chicago Police Department after young people have had contact with law enforcement, and by the Chicago Public Schools Office of Student Support and Engagement for youth who are experiencing chronic absenteeism. And that is defined by any youth who is missing more than 10% of school for any reason. And we are looking to get youth connected with supportive services based on needs assessment and youth voice. All right, so background. DFSS is the social service arm of the city of Chicago. The Youth Services Division designs programs and initiatives that leverage the assets and strengths of youth ages between 6 and 24 in the city of Chicago to support growth, development, and success. YIP was created in 2023 in response to our consent decree. The YIP program was created to divert eligible youth to community resources rather than referral into the juvenile justice system or an arrest history. The 2026 model will now enable CPS's Office of Student Support and Engagement to provide referrals for services based on chronic absenteeism. And the 2026 funding will be, it will be from a newly formed funding source. 2023 to 2025, we've had 28 applications received. We awarded 7 agencies across 8 program locations. Funding was $250,000 per year for each agency. All right. So the requirements for the program. We are going from 8 program areas down to 6, and I will pull up the map shortly. Eligibility, youth who reside in the city of Chicago between the ages of 10 and 17. This is the Chicago Police Department eligibility. Youth between the ages of 10 to 17 who have had an in-field interaction with police and who are reviewed in lieu of arrest, and that referral is after a formal or informal station adjustment, meaning they were arrested by police. CPS's Office of Student Support and Engagement eligibility is, once again, a resident of the city of Chicago. They are between the ages of 10 and 21 years old, and they are referred due to recorded chronic absenteeism. And like I said, that is missing at least 10% of schools for any reason. The locations of the program site addresses must be located within your selected service area. Program site locations will be verified prior to beginning programming. Schools and other restricted or limited access locations cannot be YIP program sites, meaning your program site can't be located in a location where youth cannot get in without you. It has to be someplace where they cannot be turned away. Program size, agencies are anticipated to serve anywhere from 100 to 150 youth per service area. And we are budgeting anywhere from $250,000 to $375,000 per contract per year. DFSS will require delegate applicants to provide a minimum of 15% as matching funds. So that would be $37,500 to $56,250, depending on what the award will be. Completion of YIP will be based on youth achieving at least 2 youth-led goals within 90 days based on an administered needs assessment. And I think one thing that I want to say is it's within a 90-day time frame. So if you're able to get those goals achieved within 45 days, within 50 days, as long as you are within that 90-day time frame, that is what we consider success. It's a slight change from where we were initially in the original program model. So staffing, there will be 1 program manager per delegate agency who will be fully staffed to the program, meaning that they are allocated 100% to the YIP program. Service coordinators will act as a convener, advocate, and organizer of broader community resources to support youth who have been referred for services. The coordinators will have a maximum ratio of 1 to 30 youth. CEOs, executive directors, and delegate agency leadership cannot serve as YIP program managers or service coordinators. One, because an executive director can't devote 100% to the program. Service coordinators can be 50% on the program, meaning that they can do part-time with YIP and then on another program if they choose, or if leadership chooses for them to. Any subcontractors must adhere to all contractual requirements and provide subcontractor agreements or documentation to DFSS. Required meetings, there will be active contract management meetings required for program managers throughout the life of the contract. Onboarding and technical assistance. Technical assistance and trainings, particularly for the first 2 months, will be required. We'll cover topics that could range anywhere from positive youth development, reflective supervision, motivational interviewing, youth mental health, first aid, suicide prevention, and more. Program components. The components will be relentless outreach to enroll referred youth, individualized case plans, consistent meetings between service coordinators and youth, complete at least 2 goals, complete case plans within 90 days, and complete a transition plan. This is our updated map for 2026 and beyond. I want you to take a look for a moment. Area A is going to be districts 1, 2, and 3. District 1 is the loop, and then going down, District 3 pretty much cuts South Shore in half. Area B are districts 4, 5, 6, and 22. Area C is districts 7, 8, and 9. Area D is districts 10, 11, 12, and 15. Area E is districts 14, 16, 17, and 25. And then Area F is districts 18, 19, 20, and 24. We broke this map out based upon referrals of our current model. And this gave a more equitable breakdown of referrals for our services. All right, and we'll move on. So 2026 performance goals and outcomes. 65% of youth will complete the goals they identified in their individualized assessment and case plan. 80% of youth participants indicate that the services received were culturally relevant and responsive to their needs. 75% connect to at least one continuing supportive service that extends beyond YIP engagement. 80% of youth, due to chronic absenteeism, will have a documented school re-engagement or credit recovery plan created in collaboration with school staff. To monitor and recognize immediate progress towards the above performance indicators, DFSS also intends to track output metrics that may include, but are not limited to, 90% of youth referred will receive a documented first contact attempt, that's either phone, text, or in person, from the awarding agency within 48 hours of receiving referral. I would love to have that actually be 100%, but we leave some wiggle room for mistakes. 85% of enrolled youth will complete a needs assessment. 85% of youth co-develop a youth-driven service plan with their service coordinator. 70% of youth will successfully complete their service plan. That means case closed, post-assessment completed, transition plan in place within 90 days. 60% of families or caregivers will participate in at least one service planning or progress review meeting. And let me just put that, we put that in there because what we've noticed from the previous program model is that parents have a huge impact on the success of the youth in this program. So this is just here to allow them to sit in and understand what's actually going on with the youth. And then finally, 75% of youth will participate in at least one restorative justice practice. All right. So this is the meat of what we're looking for in this process. The selection criteria for community involvement, what we are looking for is that the respondent demonstrates a clear understanding of the target population that they'll be working with. That's including their strengths, assets, needs, and challenges. They'll be able to demonstrate effective strategies and ongoing engagement activities that build trust with youth, families, and community members to contribute to continuously shape culturally responsive service delivery. The respondent has established expertise working with youth, the Chicago Police Department, and Chicago Public Schools Office of Student Support and Engagement, including relevant capabilities and infrastructure needed to effectively serve these groups. Let me pause right here for 1 minute. I think it's very important that we clearly communicate that with this RFP, with this program, it is expected that you will be working with the Chicago Police Department. I think I'll just plainly put it, if you have a problem working with the police, this is not the program for you. You can't say, I'll only work on the CPS side and I don't plan on working with CPD. It will not work. And I will say, if you manage to write a proposal that gets you into the program and gets you awarded, and you do have that attitude, there are structures in place that will quickly cause you to lose the contract. So be very intentional on if this is the right program for you. If you do have issues with working with CPD, I'm going to let you know this will not be the program for you. And then finally, in the community involvement section, the respondent demonstrates a strong commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and pay equity with leadership that reflects and actively engages the diverse communities it serves. And I'll just add one more thing about the communities that you will be serving. I think it's worth noting that, once again, the expectation will be that you are serving your entire area, not just the community that you're in the area. There will be one awarded provider per area. And so these referrals come in across the entire area. And it is expected that you will reach out and work with the youth across your entire area, not just your community area, but the service area as a whole. All right. Organizational capacity. The respondent has qualified staff responsible for program oversight and management, and clearly indicates their ability to hire additional qualified staff in a timely manner. I think this is important because your program manager has to be devoted 100% to the program. You have to have a clear plan in place on how you will either move staff into that new position or hire quickly to fill the position. And then also your service coordinators as well. The respondent demonstrates adequate systems and robust processes to monitor program expenditures, maintain fiscal controls, and effectively manage monthly vouchering and budget revisions. The respondent will be able to demonstrate experience utilizing validated youth needs assessment tools to develop tailored short-term plans with clear evidence of staff capacity or experience in trauma-informed care, restorative practices, and motivational interviewing. I think it's worth noting that we will give you the assessment tool that you will be needing. What we're looking for here is the fact that you understand what it takes to effectively use the tool to get the best responses from the youth that will enable you both to develop a quality plan moving forward. All right. Strength of proposed program. The respondent will clearly define comprehensive, culturally responsive services provided either directly or through partnerships that effectively address specific needs of youth and achieve desired short-term outcomes described in outcome goals, emphasizing individualized, holistic support plans driven by youth strengths, needs, and motivations. I need those who are writing the proposals to understand that We do not expect you to be able to provide everything that a young person may need in this program. In fact, if you only mention what you offer, that's probably going to be a ding, because what we're looking for is that you have partnerships to refer youth to other services outside of what you offer. So definitely speak about what you do best, the services that you do have, but also be able to talk about where you can direct young people to provide the services that you don't offer. The respondent demonstrates meaningful partnerships with the Chicago Police Department, Chicago Public Schools Office of Student Support and Engagement, and other community agencies, illustrating coordinated client-centered service delivery. The respondent clearly demonstrates effective approaches to engage youth within 48 hours of receiving referrals, emphasizing early rapport, trust building, voluntary engagement, and sustained youth participation without punitive measures. And that actually brings up a very good point. This program is 100% voluntary. Even though youth are being arrested and referred to services, if a youth decides that they do not want to participate in services, that is it. They do not have to. No report goes back to CPD that they didn't participate. There will be no additional charges that are brought up. With that being said, I need to know how you can talk to a young person to help them understand the value of this program, even though it is voluntary. All right, performance management and outcomes. The respondent demonstrates strong past performance against defined outcome goals and performance metrics, explicitly identifying improved youth engagement, strengthened connections to caring adults, reduced risky behaviors, and improved attitudes towards school and family. The respondent demonstrates a clear understanding, a clear understanding and practical experience using data-driven methods to inform, monitor, and continuously improve service delivery, including explicit tracking of identified short-term outcomes. I will be honest, I am very interested in data in this program. If you do not take good data, that will be a problem. So I always say those things to, one, highlight what you do best. And if it is something that you don't do and you're not interested in collecting data in that manner, please make sure that you understand what this program is about and apply it accordingly. Alrighty. Reasonable cost, budget justifications, and leverage of funds. The respondent demonstrates sufficient fiscal capacity, financial planning, and justified implementation costs aligned with the proposed scope of work. The respondent effectively leverages additional funds, in-kind contributions, and community partnerships to maximize overall program effectiveness. All right. So attachments that we are expecting to come to be added to the proposal when you submit it is your 2023 or 2024 990 form, a budget that we will be providing for you, and any subcontractor agreements if applicable. So this is our evaluation process, how we will score and select who will be operating the program moving forward. We will be evaluating on the strengths of the proposals and the responsiveness to the selection criteria of what I just went over. Failure to submit a complete proposal or respond fully to all requirements may make your submission subject to rejection. The commissioner, upon review of recommended agencies, may reject, deny, or recommend agencies that have applied for grants based on previous performance and or area need. DFSS reserves the right to ensure that all mandated services are available citywide and provided in a linguistically and culturally appropriate manner. DFSS does have the right to review current performance improvement plans, high-risk lists, and program performance. All righty. And here's our timeline in quotation marks. Pre-proposal presentation, that's today, November 21st. Due date to submit any pre-proposal questions. That's November 26th. And these are just questions that will be added to any addendums that we put out. You're absolutely able to and encouraged to ask any questions up to the day before the applications are due, which is December 19th, 2025. That is before noon. I think it's worth noting, we always say this and people never listen. Do not wait for December 19th before you start to submit this application. I think Jillian will probably go into this a little more. The program is slow. It takes forever to upload materials and to, so if you're doing this on December 19th, you're going to have problems, and this system shuts down exactly at 12 o'clock. So if you get this stuff in at 12:01, I will not be reading it because I won't be getting it. Notifications, we're looking to get these out in late December, and we are trying to have the program period begin January 1st. Like I said, it's an aggressive timeline, but that's where we're at. Okay. Budgets or cost proposals. So please submit a budget for 1 year of services. Use the budget form that we give you. Do not use any other forms. You are required to have a 15% match in your other share. The administrative cap is 15%. Review the indirect cost rate options and attached documentation. Cost category definitions are attached as budget instructions in every RFP. Be mindful of the program manager and the service coordinators in your budget. Please don't leave them out. Like I said, this is the third RFP that we've been reading for the past 2 months. You'd be surprised how many people leave out the essential staff in their budgets. Please don't be one of them. Be thoughtful and inclusive when developing your budget. Use the reasonable cost question on the application to discuss how you determine the cost reflected in the budget. All right. Common errors, common mistakes that we see. They use a budget form. We want to make sure that you use the budget form that is provided by iSupplier. Fringes, please check your calculations. Supplies, these are frequently under or over budget. Client assistant ancillary supports, if this is an appropriate or allowable cost, don't forget to include it. Put a brief description of the job in the budget document itself if you have not discussed it specifically in your application. Put your other share in the appropriate columns, and please, please, please show your match. All right. Applications are due Thursday, December 19th at 12. Once again, for those who just walked in, this QR code, if you have any questions, please go ahead, scan that now, and it'll take you to a form where you can ask your questions. I'll leave that up for 1 second. Alrighty. All right, give me 1 second. Let me pull up the questions. All right. All righty. Question number 1. Will CPD still be using the YAZI? As it stands now, yes, I believe they are. I won't speak too much about the CPD processes. I know they are still working on a couple of things, but as it stands now, as far as my understanding is, yes, they are still using the YAZI. How will domains differ for youth over 18? So I'm going to answer this as I think, but I'm not 100% sure on the meaning behind the question. Domains being what are the goals that we will be looking at? I think, and if that's the case, the domains don't really change. It's what the youth want to work on. I think the only difference is with youth being over 18, these will only be the youth referred by CPS. So there will be just a process of getting them reconnected with school or credit recovery plan in place with the school that they're in. What do they mean by performance-based? I don't remember. Do me a favor. Ask a more detailed, because I don't know what performance-based, in what manner you are talking about. How's the collaboration with CPD going to progress between delegate sites and area detectives with this RFP compared to the previous pilot? How is the collaboration? So the collaboration, I think, is continuing to build. CPD is putting staff in place to make themselves more available so that they have people who are dedicated to this program that weren't there in previous years. So I would just, I guess, short answer be, it's continuing to grow. What's the tool DFSS will be using to assess appropriateness for school referrals? Are these then considered under the deflection umbrella? Tool DFSS will be used. So school referrals, that process has not, it's an ongoing process. We're in discussions with CPS, so there isn't a finalized plan in place currently to determine which young people are eligible from CPS and where they're coming from. I believe that is the question that was asked. That's the answer. So this is not necessarily considered under the deflection umbrella. Deflection is referring solely to CPD, and that policy is still being developed for CPD. Are there any restrictions on subcontracts? If so, how many sub-awards? The only restrictions for subcontractors are the restrictions for normal program implementation. I hope that answers the question. How will DFSS ensure equity in referrals if CPD maintains the ability to use officer discretion in making referrals? So DFSS is ensuring equity across, it's across the referrals that had already come in, I think is what we're talking about. The discretion that CPD has is honestly which programs they put the young people in. YIP is not the only diversion program that CPD offers. So there are other programs that youth get referred into outside of YIP. And the officer discretion is based on the type of offense that comes in. So I hope that answers the question. I think the biggest thing, well, I guess what I'll say to that is CPD processes we leave to CPD. We don't, we work with them as they're developing their processes, provide input, but at the end of the day, it is their processes that they are implementing. Similarly, how could a youth's disposition change after their referral? Dispositions don't change after referral. I think CPD does what they do with the young person. Once they refer them to us, CPD is done with the case for that young person. Will a deflection diversion program be created for young people 18 through 21 through CPD referral source? At this moment, no. It is because CPD does not consider 18 to 21 young people, they're adults, and this is a youth program. So there is no expectation currently that CPD will be providing referrals for youth between the ages of 18 to 21. All right. If CPD refers up to 17, which schools will be referring ages 21 up? Alternative schools. So like I said, this is being built out, but what we wanted to make sure was that because CPD students are able to be in CPD until over the age of 21, we wanted to make sure that we weren't restricting any of those youth from being able to participate in the program, especially those who might be behind as they go up in age. So we are in the process of mapping out what schools will look like, what areas will look like, and what the referral process will look like currently. So that's all I have for that question at the moment. Are restorative justice opportunities not needed for program completion? Restorative justice opportunities it is a outcome goal for your performance. I believe it was 70% will need a restorative justice opportunity. I think it is definitely encouraged for young people to participate in them, but can a young person successfully complete without one? We will look into that. I think currently, I will say they need to have that restorative justice opportunity to be able to transition successfully, but we will look into that a little further. Will service coordinators be able to meet with families at the police station if arrest occurs within agency designated service hours? Currently, that is not an option, and that is primarily because once again, we have to be aware of the policies and procedures of CPD as well. And unless they give us the okay to do that and provide a process for what that would look like, we won't be. But that's not to say that we won't be able to build that in the future. I think the biggest thing that is worth noting is from 2023, when we started, we have continuously built this program and continue to build this program to make it more accessible and easier for young people to get enrolled into the program and involved in the program. Will families have the ability to request referral? Currently, no. So right now, the only referral pathways are by CPD and CPS, Office of Student Support and Engagement. I think the biggest thing is there are we want to, one, make sure that we don't overwhelm the system, but also this program is a requirement of the consent decree, and CPD has to be the sole or the main referral source at the moment. So we can't have a situation where we are at capacity and CPD cannot refer into the program. And it states it in the RFP explicitly that if you're at capacity and CPD refers youth in, you have to take them over any CPS students. And that's to just make sure that we are abiding by the consent decree. Is there a goal for the percentage of referrals that come from CPD versus CPS? No, there is not. Will extensions for each potential agency be performance-based? I'm thinking this is per year, like at the end of the year. Will their extension for the next year be performance-based? So I'm going to answer it that way. And if that's not how you mean it, you can, clarify. So it is not extended. The extension isn't based on performance, but I will say non-extension will be based on performance. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you're not meeting the goals or metrics that we are laying out, you will lose funding. And that's why I'm very, I guess, frank when it comes to if you're not sure how to operate this program, if you don't know if you can work with CPD, or if you don't know if you can manage the size of the service area, don't do it. If you're an agency that has a grant writer, and the grant writer can write a very great grant proposal, but they don't talk to the service personnel, and once they get the contract, they don't know what the grant writer put in, there's a really good chance you will lose the contract very quickly. We have begun the process of really looking at what performance metrics we are working with, and the process on how to deobligate funds quickly if agencies aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's not saying that we won't work with agencies if they're running into trouble. We problem solve with the best of them. I personally want my agencies to be able to reach out and talk to me about any potential problems that they may have. But if you're in over your head and you don't know what you're doing, we will deobligate, and deobligate rather quickly. And I think, yeah, another one came in here. Could you talk more about the requirements to hold services on weekends? Do these hours have to be in person, on site, or can they be virtual, remote? It is whatever your, as long as you are effectively able to administer the grant on at least one weekday per week. So that could be going out talking to young people. That could be making calls, trying to get a young person recruited. It could be having them come in to provide services, or going out to them to provide services. It's as long as you are able to do whatever you normally do in the process of fulfilling the grant. I hope that answers. One weekend day per week. So it's 5 days per week. One of those days has to be a weekend. All right, and that looks like That is all the questions thus far. All right, so with that, I will bring up Jillian. Let me just pull the presentation back up for her. All right, Jillian.
My name is Jillian Black. I am the procurement proposal coordinator with DFSS. And the first most important tip that we can provide is to start your application as soon as possible. If you have never done business with the city of Chicago, please register to iSupplier ASAP. Review RFP narratives and application questions closely. Remember that they align with the scope and the selection criteria. Use the information in the RFP for guidance in formulating your answers. There is a 4,000 character limit, which includes punctuation and spaces. Each response is allotted 4,000 characters. Please try not to use the back button on your browser. You can potentially lose your work. Just some tips for working in e-procurement. To submit multiple applications for a single RFP, applicants will need to set up a unique user account in iSupplier. The e-procurement system is not capable of submitting more than one distinct proposal per associated email address. You can submit your application and later amend it up until the due date, which is Friday, December 19th at 12 noon. Avoid the rush and possible mishaps by submitting your application early. Plan on your submission taking 30 to 60 minutes. Again, late applications cannot be accepted. For e-procurement help, please make use of the e-procurement hotline. The number is listed on the screen. And please note that the hotline operates during business hours only, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, submit as early as possible, save it as often as possible, start it right away. Especially in this season, we're entering the holiday season. A lot of people are going to be out of the office, so we suggest that you start it right away. A couple agency requirements. We require agencies to provide articles of incorporation and any amended articles of incorporation. We also require an IRS affirmation letter for not-for-profit agencies. Please note that that letter must be dated within 60 days of your submission. And you can obtain this letter by calling the IRS directly. Their information is listed on the screen. However, if you are a for-profit agency, please submit your original letter from the IRS showing your FEIN number. Your UEI number is required, as well as your central contractor registration, which can be provided on the entity overview page on the sam.gov website. And lastly, we require all agencies to provide a certificate of good standing letter with the state of Illinois. As of April of 2024, we have a labor peace agreement ordinance that would apply to all DFSS and CDPH delegates that have 20 or more agencies working for their organization. The only exemptions are hospitals. Contractor must provide written notice to the commissioner or her designee within 72 hours of becoming aware that employees may want to organize or that a union seeks to represent employees. Contractor must enter into the LPA within 90 days. What is an LPA? A labor peace agreement is an agreement between an employer and a labor union that ensures that an organizing drive is not impacted by union busting techniques, including employee retaliation, and in return, they will not strike or stop work in a way that will impact human services. For technical assistance, there will be a link to the RFP on the DFSS webpage, as well as training documents. Please see the alerts section on our website. And for questions on registration and e-procurement, please reach out to customer support at cityofchicago.org. And they also can be reached at 312-744-4357. And for training materials, we have documents and videos on the cityofchicago.org website under online training materials. The link is listed on the screen here. At this time, we're going to insert into how to enter your responses and accepting your amendments. Step 1, you select Create Quote from the drop-down menu in the Actions box, and then you click on Go. This will take you to the application page where you can get started. If the RFP you are interested in has been amended, and in this case it will be, you will need to acknowledge and accept the amendment first to start or submit your response. To accept the amendment, please click on View Amendment History. To begin the acceptance and acknowledgement process, please follow these steps after clicking View Amendment History. First, you click on the document number. Next, you click on the infinity or eyeglass icon to review the amended changes to the RFP. And lastly, you click on Acknowledge Amendments button to acknowledge the receipt and understanding of the changes to proceed. By acknowledging the amendment, you are indicating that you are aware of the changes made to the RFP. When you get to the screen here, you click on the I accept checkbox and then you click on Acknowledge. Next, you click on Yes to indicate that you confirm your acknowledgement of the amendment. Finally, you click on the checkbox that you accept the terms and conditions, and then you click on Accept to accept them. And that is the final step in acknowledging and accepting the amendment. Once you accept an amendment, you can move forward with submitting your application, which we will discuss right now. So when you are ready to submit your application, meaning that you've answered all required questions, you've attached all required documents, and once you reviewed everything, you are ready to submit, and you can start by saving your draft one last time and then clicking Continue. If you are missing information, you will be given an error message at the top of the screen, similar to the one listed here on the screen. Usually the error messages direct to something left undone in your application. So in the last example, the error message indicated that the lines found under the Lines tab had not been completed. In the example listed here, the error is about an unanswered question in the application or the requirements section. The quote value refers to your, in this case, missing answer. So once you've completed everything and your application is finally free from any errors, you are ready to proceed and submit. And at this point, clicking Continue should put your application into the review and submit phase. Once you see the summary page, similar to the one listed on the screen here, it will be your last chance to review all of your data and to confirm that it is accurate. Please check your attachments and scroll to the bottom of the screen to see all of your responses. And at the very bottom of the screen, you'll be asked to provide an electronic signature. Please be sure to fill in that signature before checking the box. And finally, you can click Submit to submit your application. Once you submit your application, you will receive a notification similar to the one on the screen here. The e-procurement system will also send a confirmation email within 24 hours of your submission. However, Please feel free to call or email me if you desire confirmation prior to then. My name is Jillian Black. My email is jillian.black@cityofchicago.org. And that is all. Again, for technical assistance, the email is customersupport@cityofchicago.org. And they can also be reached via phone at 312-744-4357. Thank you.
All righty. So once again, if there's any final questions, you can go ahead, scan that and ask. But like Jillian said, you can reach out to her. Her email is listed below. But if you have any programmatic questions, you can email me at the email address below. For those who know me, if you email my personal email address, you might not get a response. I'll direct you back to this email address so that we can keep everything categorized accordingly. So non-programmatic questions, you can call the hotline 312-744-4357 or customer support at citychicago.org. Or as Jillian said, you can give her email at jillian.black@cityofchicago.org. Alrighty. Let me see if we have any additional questions. All right. There are no other questions. So with that, I will thank you so much for joining. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at the email address. If there are any changes that need to be made based off of any questions and answers we get and give, there will be an amendment going out in a couple of days. Like Jillian said, please get started early. Please save often. And thank you so much.